Hey guys, I tried 8 different times to do 8 different videos and it didn't work out. Besides my friends, the dogs over next door that belong to our neighbors who don't care that they bark in the middle of the night. Let me shout out some people that really made my day today. Besides Tyson Twins, Queen T, BizWiz, Along the Journey, Mark B, the infamous MOS, Unc Tay, was good to see you. Like Sunny, good to see you. Coyote, Royds, Cheryl, good to see you. Bobby, of course. Will, Jason, and Fish Days. Get your website going. At Debating Eminem on Twitter, all the stands, and of course the infamous MOS was on Twitter. Along with Along the Journey. Yeah, so that being said, let's just go back to basics. I don't get to reflect very much, and when I do, I try to stop and think about what it is I reflected on naturally, but it goes to much more than that. What did I speak on? And what I spoke on was God. A lot of times I don't make much sense. A lot of times I just go into a kind of a zone, and that zone is rambling. Sometimes I help, and sometimes I just stick my foot in my mouth. I sometimes hit the mark. I sometimes get in deeper trouble. This time I actually helped somebody to feel a little bit better about how bad the situations can kind of be and how lonely our situation can kind of be. So, because I wasn't getting anything done, and I said, you know what, I do need a little bit of divine intervention, I actually found this video that means a lot to me. My brother, whom I hope hasn't completely turned away from God, but has given up a lot of what he believes. What I haven't told you guys is growing up, my stepfather liked to switch religions like he liked to switch pants. So we grew up in a lot of different churches. We had a lot of different faith, and so we didn't grow up trusting anything. So I got back into the church a few years ago. I do believe, but at the same time, I don't believe blindly. So that being said, it's not that people want to thank God for everything good, but also blame God for everything bad. We have to understand, this is my belief. I'm not putting anything on you. When everything happened with Adam and Eve, that broke every deal. That broke us from being able to live forever, to be perfect, for us to walk with God. That started everything. That means we had free will, and because of free will, that means what we put on ourselves, including karma, that is on us. What we put in our body, what we nourish ourselves with, that manifests. What our parents and our parents' parents and their parents' parents, that all comes down the line, all through genetics. What we breathe, what the next person is breathing, what we surround ourselves with, what we do, how we fall, how we act, if we walk, if we exercise, everything. And how many children we have, if we have children at a late age, if we exercise in the morning, if we exercise at night, how many carbs we eat, if we are prone to allergies, if we're prone to asthma, if we, you know, so many things, and we pass that in our genes, you know. So when people sometimes do develop cancer, some people develop a cancer that's curable, some people don't, and they want to blame God. It's easy to blame him. That's not always the case. I'm not trying to be insensitive, and you may disagree. And that's okay. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. So,
Earth was created 6,000 years ago in 6 days by God. I am confused. Being philosophically consistent and being a very honest person, I'm sure you can tell me where God came from. And in addition, once you've told me where God comes from, please try to clarify how you can figure that a spiritual force can have an impact on a material universe to create it. I think that some years ago we already talked about that kind of thing in philosophical circles at any rate, by posing the question, if angels are made of spiritual matter, and a pen is made of material matter, and spiritual matter displaces no space, how many angels can dance on the tip of a pen? I have a sense of sort of reversal experience here, but please do, go ahead.
You've got 5 minutes. Now, I just want to know which question.
That's all right, you may take the rest of the minute.
We're supposed to do one question at a time. Which one would you like? That was part of the format for the debate. So which
I want you to fill in the story of the rest of the beginning of the universe. God, spiritual matter, impact on material matter.
Okay, so 2 questions. All right. Go ahead. All right, your question, where did God come from, assumes that you're thinking of the wrong, obviously it displays that you're thinking of the wrong God, because the God of the Bible is not affected by time, space, or matter. If he's affected by time, space, or matter, he's not God. Time, space, and matter is what we call a continuum. All of them have to come into existence at the same instant, because if there were matter but no space, where would you put it? If there were matter and space but no time, when would you put it? You cannot have time, space, or matter independently. They have to come into existence simultaneously. The Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, there's time. God created the heaven, there's space, and the earth, there's matter. So you have time, space, matter created, a trinity of trinities there. Just, you know, time is past, present, future. Space has length, width, height. Matter has solid, liquid, gas. You have a trinity of trinities created instantaneously, and the God who created them has to be outside of them. If he's limited by time, he's not God. The guy who created this computer is not in the computer. He's not running around in there changing the numbers on the screen, okay? The God who created this universe is outside of the universe. He's above it, beyond it, in it, through it. He's unaffected by it. So the concept that a spiritual force cannot have any effect on a material body, well then I guess you'd have to explain to me things like emotions and love and hatred and envy and jealousy and rationality. I mean, if your brain is just a random collection of chemicals that form by chance over billions of years, how on earth can you trust your own reasoning processes and the thoughts that you think? Okay, so your question, where did God come from, is assuming a limited God. And that's your problem. The God that I worship is not limited by time, space, or matter. If I could fit the infinite God in my 3-pound brain, he would not be worth worshiping, that's for certain. So that's the God that I worship. Thank you.
Dr. Hubbard, would you like to... Would you please present a question to
The guy's laughing.
other side?
None at this time.
Earth was created 6,000 years.
I will give you the link to this for you to share this. I didn't mean to steal this whole video, but I really feel that this can still be debated somehow. Maybe. Or maybe this is good enough. Maybe some people have lost their faith. Maybe some people haven't and they need it just a little bit stronger. Maybe some people are feeling sad and they just need a little bit more oomph in their step. I remember my brother showing me this years ago. And I was so shocked. My brother, the agnostic. And he goes, don't look at me like that. It doesn't mean I'm going to church. I'm like, I know. It just reminds you of all the churches we've been to, right? I get it. But he said, but at least this guy made sense. He goes, and the funny thing is, he looks like a scientist. Probably is. So, sometimes the most unlikely things are the ones that make the most sense. For instance, sometimes I put up videos, I have no idea why. It just happens. There was this gentleman that I wanted, Kashmir Quest. That's a different name. Well, when you're just running through it, you catch things that are amazing, and you hear things that are amazing. Sometimes you think you're not welcome, especially when you're intimidated, and sometimes you just go for it and say, I'm just gonna go in. You know, whether you're the only female in a room full of men, whether you're the only white person in a room full of a different, you know, race or nationality. So I asked him, I said, do you have a YouTube page? And I said, because I would like to put your video on my channel. Said, yeah, okay. So of course he's busy, you know, trying to talk to everybody in the comments. I said, I'll come back. Came back the next day, and he was still busy, and you know, he's thanking me like, oh great, you know, yeah, put it on your channel. And I'm like, well, I don't have that many, but sure, of course I will. And so I asked him, and he told me his YouTube page, and so here we are. And I'm thinking, I did all these other 8 videos, and none of them I was satisfied with. None of them reactions, just all things I just thought were interesting, but they just all fell flat. So here we come to Kashmir Quest. And then I started thinking, what is making me think about God? And then I started thinking about a couple of subs. Not subs. I hate saying that, but then I don't want to say fam, because, like I said, some people say that's appropriating the culture, and I don't want to do that. So, talked to a couple of close people, and they started bringing things up that were sentimental to them, and I said, well, anyway, let's go to the next video. But hopefully I didn't bring you down. I just thought this was really interesting, and I really liked how succinct this was. To the point. Tell me what you think in the comments. You don't have to tell me if you believe or don't believe. You can write whatever you want. You could write about how you're getting a new bike for your kid today. You could write how your morning's going, your night's going, anything you want.